Hey guys, let's talk about one of the questions that I get asked most often, and that are what are the pros and cons of traveling in an RV? Now, my family is sort of done with our RV phase of mold avoidance, but we do still own our RVs, so I'm making this video from an RV. So it's important to know when you are deciding how to do mold avoidance, if you are going to do hotels, camping, RVs, rental houses, or a combination of all of them. It's probably best to start out with a combination of all of them to see what suits your family the best. Now, I'm going to dive right in and talk about some of the pros and cons of RV life so that you can kind of decide if it's right for you. Let's start with the pros. We never really liked checking in and out of hotels, moving our stuff in and out, dealing with the front desk person. We had small children. We just wanted to be, I love the idea of being able to hook up the RV and go and move. Because one of the primary things you need to do in mold avoidance is learn locations effect. And when you're going from hotel to hotel, it's hard to isolate. Was the hotel room bad or was the air bad? You don't really know. So the RV eliminates the variable of your indoor environment and allows you to know if what you're feeling good or bad is the indoor or the outdoor environment. So it's very flexible. You can move in 2 hours. You could literally spend 3 hours in one location, hook up, 6 hours in another location, hook up, move, sleep in another location, hook up, and move. I mean, you can move. You don't even have to unhook your RV from location to location. You can literally turn your truck on and move to the next location. This was what I wanted. I didn't want to have the mental energy of checking in and out of hotels. Now, that doesn't mean everybody will like that. Some people will be different. The other great advantage of RVs that I really loved was they allowed you to penetrate more deeply into nature than a hotel. Most hotels are going to be in civilization. Even if they're in smaller towns, they're going to be, right in a little intersection with gas stations and restaurants and cell towers and parking lots. And again, that's fine for some people, but I like the idea that in my RV, I could literally just park in a national park or in a remote campground or even on BLM land, open the windows. Remember, sometimes hotel windows don't open, and have fresh air blowing in my RV in 10 seconds. I craved that. I wanted to be in the wild. I wanted to be in nature, but we also didn't want to do tent camping because it was, it's just a mess. There's setup, there's tear down, there's other issues with tent camping. I have another video on my YouTube channel called 7 Benefits of Using a Truck Camper Shell for Mold Avoidance. I want you guys to go watch that video because many of those benefits also apply to RVs. So go watch that video. Now, another benefit to doing mold avoidance in RVs is creature comforts, a bathroom, a kitchen, insulation, other things that, will allow a family to have more sustainability while doing mold avoidance. Okay, now let's talk about some of the cons of doing mold avoidance in an RV. Number one, you can't just get rid of your RV if it's contaminated. I mean, it's going to cost you a lot of money and time and energy to swap it out. So earlier on in mold avoidance, when people are more toxic and they're detoxing more rapidly, and they have, they don't have their mold avoidance skills down yet, so they're going to park in really bad locations, it can be really hard. We had to trade in a lot more RVs early on than we do now. Nowadays, we can get an RV to last a really long time. So keep that in mind. It's often better for people to start out mold avoidance in a tent or a hotel room where mistakes are easy and cheap. If you have to change hotel rooms, it's a lot easier than changing RVs. Remember that. The second major disadvantage of an RV is it is somewhat mechanical. And this is a hard topic to talk about because we're all different. It depends on where you are on the scale of mechanical and driving aptitude. For some people, whether it be a man or a woman, driving and parking an RV is easy, and they don't even think twice about it, and they don't even consider it mechanical. But for other people, leveling an RV and hooking and unhooking an RV and backing up an RV into a campground spot and driving an RV on the highway might be too much for them. So you really have to do an honest assessment of where you are at personally, it doesn't matter what I can do or what John can do or what Jill can do, what you can do with an RV. It's not rocket science. It's not, I also have my pilot's license. It's not as hard as, flying a plane, but it is something that it does require some mechanical aptitude. If you unhook your RV and your stabilizers aren't down and your RV rolls down the hill into the highway, you have to kind of be thinking about this stuff. There's some technical things that I go into detail in my RV coaching program for how to take care of your tanks, how to empty your tanks, how to make sure you don't flood your RV, because there are a lot of things that are different about RVs than houses. Your sinks and your bathtubs don't have an emergency drain. So if you accidentally leave water on, you're gonna flood your RV. Sometimes I get up on the roof of my RV to reseal the roof to make sure it's not leaking. You have to walk around your whole RV every time you leave a campground to make sure you didn't leave any stabilizers down, or is the slide out, is the awning down. There's some mental checklist, but for me personally, I preferred going through the mental checklist of only one item rather than different hotel rooms over and over and over and over. Like I kind of like to master things and then not do other things. I don't like change. All right, you guys, my personality, I don't really like change. I like to do the same thing over and over again. I'm kind of a rat on a wheel. And so changing hotel rooms, I didn't like that idea. I wanted to spend the energy and the effort to become a skilled RV user and then not learn anything else and apply that knowledge over and over and over again to different locations. That's what I love about RVs. That's also another reason why building my custom RV was kind of a disaster. I love the standardization of RVs. No matter what brand you get, what model year, they're all the same. They all have the same skills to use them. And so once you master them, it's easy. And so that's something else you need to ask when you're wondering if RVs are right for you. So I'm going to end it there. I could go on and on. I hope really what this discussion has done more so is just giving you some basic idea about what questions you should be asking about the RV lifestyle. Obviously, this video is not comprehensive on the RV lifestyle. There's going to be a lot of other things that come into it. And like I said, we own a house now. We kind of are done with our RV phase, but for 3 years, up until about the middle of 2020, the RV lifestyle was worked for our family to heal doing mold avoidance. We've owned 6 different RVs. Go watch, and I mean 6 different RVs all in the last 4 years. Go watch my other videos on RV usage. Go listen to my podcast. I have a lot of episodes on RV usage, and feel free to participate in the Practical Mold Avoidance group and also the RV for Mold Avoidance group that I started. And again, we'll talk about more topics in future videos, but I kind of want to divide up these videos into smaller chunks so that people aren't overwhelmed by like a 45-minute video. Thanks for listening. Just a little bit of a disclaimer, like I always have to tell everybody, I'm not a doctor, so I can't advise on if mold avoidance will work for your health or not. I'm also not a licensed RV professional or mechanic, so any advice that I give in videos or in my coaching program is just based on my own personal experience. You guys need to verify that with professional RV dealers or mechanics before you try anything on your RV. I always tell people too that RVs are not built very high quality. Usually they are built to be lightweight, so expect mechanical problems. And also, when you're driving down the road, the RV is shaking all around. So again, expect mechanical problems. I will leave you with one mind-blowing tip that will change your RV lifestyle. This is just kind of an epilogue to this video. It's a tip that I hope you'll use. If you have a problem with your RV, think twice about taking it to a dealer. Even if you feel entitled and justified, it's under warranty, I'm going to take it to the dealer, they need to fix it. It's much better just to pay out of pocket and hire a mobile RV mechanic who will drive to you and just fix whatever's wrong with your RV. Obviously, if the frame cracks or something, this advice wouldn't apply. It would only be if it's a small problem. But by trying to use your warranty and drop off your RV at a dealer, you are opening yourself up to mind-blowing problems. Number one, they could do more damage. They could contaminate it. They're going to be delayed, and it's going to take months and months to fix it. It's going to be sitting in the shop with other contaminated RVs. But here's the biggest one, you guys. Most people who drop off their RV at RV dealerships, they will go back to their house or whatever. But most of us who are full-time RVers for a period of time in our life, we are going to have to go live somewhere else while the RV is being repaired for a month or 6 weeks or whatever. And we're going to spend $10,000 on hotel rooms or a rental house. So whatever benefit you think you're getting by I've owned 6 RVs and I've had probably 20 repairs done to my RVs. You know how many times I've ever dropped it off at a dealer or a mechanic? 0. I always pay out of pocket to $200 or $300 to have someone come to me. There are many RV mechanics in many different cities, so that I don't have to drop off my RV, subject my RV to further damage and contamination at a dealership, and then pay $10,000 for other housing. That's a great tip, you guys. All right, everybody have a great day.